Welcome back to God of War 3. We just killed Hades, so we're swimming along the river Styx, so, get your, are these 70s or 80s?
No, Styx is 70s.
I thought so.
Styx in Kansas and all the arena band kind of
Rush.
people were all.
Oh, that brings
Well, Rush
back
is actually
memories.
good, so.
I've only ever
I mean, there are some songs of Styx I like.
Yeah, Styx
I've
is
only
70s.
ever been to one concert in my life, and it was a Styx, Kansas concert.
Was it Did you have a fun time?
No, not really. Concerts aren't my thing. It's something my
okay.
dad wanted to do.
I don't think I've ever been to a concert.
You've never been to
really?
a concert?
Okay, I'm gonna
I'm
say.
I'm trying to think back. I don't think I've ever been to a concert.
I'm gonna say the moveset for this looks different than the Blades of Chaos. Like sufficiently different that I'm like.
I mean, it is different, but it feels a little superficial. I
Yeah,
guess
I
is
suppose.
It is a little superficial. Like, you're not inherently hitting enemies in a different way or harder or that sort of thing.
If they did more with the summoning souls aspect, I think it would be cool.
You can focus on that more. I just don't, because there's no real
Right.
point to it.
Like,
Because,
It's
like,
not like it doesn't give you like a specific advantage.
Because the thing about the standard chains is that they're long range and quick, and so that makes them a very good all around weapon. Because it doesn't seem like they trade off any damage for the range and the speed. So
Yeah, like the hooks for Hades are like, I think are like a little bit harder hitting for a little bit slower, but that's not much of a difference to care about.
yeah, but the thing is that they don't ask you to change the way you attack. Whereas if you had a weapon that was like, for example, short range, maybe was even faster or something like that, that would ask you to change how you attacked because you would have to get in closer to enemies and risk getting hit more. Or the traditional kind of example of this is the slow heavy weapon that hits harder at the expense of speed, so you have to be more careful about your strikes, otherwise you'll get hit more often. It changes the way you play, versus I don't think that you would have to pay too much more attention to how you were playing with the hooks as opposed to playing with the swords in this.
okay, Hephaestus is consistently entertaining when he's on screen. I'm noticing. It's something to do with the way he's animated.
Do we kill him?
Yes.
Of course we do.
I feel bad for him, though. Should I?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait, here's his tragic backstory. Okay.
So,
my mother Hera bragged of my talent. But the day you killed Ares,
Cliff Notes version of Greek mythology for you.
wait, why?
Zeus became the fiend you now know. Worst of all,
What?
If you're asking why Zeus got mad at Hephaestus for the first game, because Hephaestus was technically the one in charge of making the Pandora's box thing.
I spend my time
Right?
trying to recreate her.
So,
I mean, everything went to shit when Kratos opened Pandora's box.
which is stupid because Zeus is the one who asked him to open the box, and that's where
Yes.
the biggest problem of the story comes from.
And yeah,
Right.
Because the idea is that because the box was open, the evils came out and those corrupted Zeus, even though A, Zeus was kind of a shithead beforehand, and again, B, he's the one who asked us to open the box.
You were once a father too.
Yeah, this series plays pretty fast and loose with the whole mythology thing, doesn't it?
Yep.
I mean, that's fine. You can take deviations from the mythology. I mean, honestly, doing that is probably part of what makes it more interesting. I guess it's just that you have to also do that and make the story reasonable. I mean, maybe if they had made it so that Zeus had planned to make Kratos open the box the entire time in this sort of, wait, hold on a moment. Was this Athena's Machiavellian scheme to get Kratos to open the box to corrupt Zeus to make it so that Kratos would kill Zeus so that Athena could be in charge the whole time.
Mm.
To my knowledge, it's only Zeus that gave him the idea. I'm not sure if Athena whispered in his ear.
Well, isn't Athena trying to... Whatever, we'll find out later.
I don't think they were thinking that
I need
far
to go
ahead.
back and
Okay.
play
They
this.
clearly-
Well, no, they're not thinking that far ahead, but they can justify it later.
I need
They
to
can
go
retcon
back and
crap.
play the series again so that I can get a handle on what's going on. But you know, I've got that can wait for another time because I've got Final Fantasy VII Remake to play, which I haven't done yet.
I mean, you just got done playing 200 hours of Persona 5 Royal.
I do not regret that decision.
Are you really ready for another? Who am I kidding?
I mean, isn't the Final Fantasy VII Remake a much shorter game?
It's about 30 to 35 hours.
Yeah, like, that's
Yeah, I was like, what are we gauging that compared to like Atlas stuff? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, most Atlas RPGs are probably 100 hours, and that's when you're
God, that
getting
sounds
one of the
exhausting.
endings. Sometimes there's like 5.
The
So,
Persona games
you
tend
know.
to be more time consuming because of the calendar system. It's like the actual dungeon content doesn't take too terribly long. But when you combine that with the life sim time passage management stuff and my meticulous gameplay style, the product is pretty long. And like I got to level 99 with all my characters just through natural play, which should tell you something about what my style is like. So yeah.
But I mean, I don't blame you for wanting to go to a more action-heavy game after playing a long RPG like that. Like, I play a lot of RPGs, obviously, so one of the games I'm most looking forward to right now is Streets of Rage 4, which at the time of recording, I think comes out at the end of next week. I am
Yeah,
so
the
excited
30th.
for that game because that game just looks freaking awesome. And
You
punch
getting the
people-
physical version from Limited Run, or
No, I'm probably just gonna get the digital version.
that's fair?
But the game looks so cool. You punch people in the face and you do the move, and it's like, yeah, it looks awesome.
That's
Grab the paw.
that sounds like the way someone would have described Streets of Rage back in the day.
If they were 8 years old and playing it on the Sega Genesis, yeah, probably.
Yeah. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah. You know, we were talking about adventure. I think part of it is that I feel like you changed locales pretty frequently in the original in the first two God of Wars. Like, not so fast that you didn't get to like enjoy the areas that you were in, but we're like what 7 parts in, 6?
And we're still like
I
backtracking
can,
through
I can
stuff.
still see in the background that there's a stone ceiling above us, which implies that we
Yeah.
haven't actually gone all that much higher than we were before.
Yeah. So like we spent a part or two like in the opening area. That's fine. And I guess spending some time in Hades would be cool, but I figure by now we would have been in a more different like in a more varied locale, Although I get that, okay, maybe you know what? Complain and the scenery shall change. There we go. Wow, I have got superpowers. This is awesome. Okay, never mind.
Ask and ye shall receive, Ted.
Nice water.
Wait, so did we just teleport?
Yep.
Oh,
Teleportation, yeah. Scooby-Doo-wop.
So what I don't get is why we would ever go back into the portal to go back into Hades.
You can't. Well, not now anyway, but we have to go back down into Hades because Hephaestus is there.
Yeah, but why can't we just leave him behind and walk back to Olympus?
Because he has stuff that will help us.
Well, I mean, we've got Gaia
Yeah,
right
don't try
here.
that shit, bitch. You betrayed me.
Yes, child. Quickly. I suffer greatly.
Yeah, Kratos, we're friends, right?
Without me,
You know I had no choice. You
It was just a simple stab in the back. Come on now, Kratos, you know better.
Do we kill her?
Well, we
We're
knocked
going
her
to
off.
at some point, yeah.
Yeah, you really shouldn't have pissed Kratos off.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I drink all night and I work all day. He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day.
Do I mean nothing to you?
No,
Pretty
not
much.
really.
Oh, throwing her
You
own
see-
words back in her face, huh?
Yeah, but they weren't the exact words, which fails the poetic irony test. You're getting points off for this, Kratos. All right.
I have the power.
3 people know of my vengeance. Never mind. I don't know He-Man well enough to make fun of the end. Is that it? Is that all we do to Gaia?
You know,
Oh,
we were
no.
trying to
Magic
we
powers
were trying
were
to get her
granted to
out
me
of
the
our
day I
way
held
so
my
that we
blades
could
of
go,
chaos
but
and
then
said, Zeus!
I mean, we were trying to get her out of the way so that we could progress down this path, but her hand just sort of stayed on the path anyway.
Wait, so we're basically just on the side of Mount Olympus right now, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Kratos, just climb up the mountain.
Well,
Just climb up.
that's what he was trying to do at the start, but it didn't go so well.
Yeah. But he
Because,
can
you know,
just do it
Zeus
now.
can throw lightning bolts at things.
Yeah, but you know what he'll have the advantage of when he's just one guy climbing up a mountain versus 12 giants and a
Okay, look,
frickin'
the
army.
goddamn
Stealth.
the goddamn eagles would have had a better chance of flying directly into Mordor than Crotus would have climbing up the mountain to Olympus.
Yeah, because he has stealth. That's why they sent the hobbits in alone to the. Wait, that also sounds like a terrible plan. Now that you think about
Well,
it.
they didn't. They
Well,
didn't.
the initial plan was to go as a group of the 7, which is small enough to not be detected, but big enough to actually, defend each
Yeah,
other
it's
over.
just they wound up getting broken up partway through. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and they had like a wizard on their team. That
They had a
seems-
wizard, like 2 warriors, an archer,
Yeah.
a dwarf.
But then they had to go through Moria, and then everything was downhill from there. Al, running into a giant fire demon will do that to you.
And then the hobbits buggered off to go play Star Wars.
That's still my favorite joke from that website.
So we're hobbits, what could we do? Nothing. What do you mean, nothing? You're small and you cook.
It's it makes the way things fall together in the Lord of the Rings makes more sense when you read the book, but at the same time it takes so long to get there that I understand why the movie kind of sped things along.
Speeds things along by taking 2.5 hours to get to the point
Oh,
where they form
okay.
the Fellowship of the
Look,
Ring.
okay, Peter Jackson's style expands on things in most cases, but in the case of Lord of the Rings, there's a hell of a lot that gets skipped over, and a hell of a lot.
There's a whole segment from them leaving the Shire before they get to Rivendell, and none of that really matters. And then there's a lot of faffing about after they form the Fellowship.
Yeah.
That is nice for character and flavor, but for a movie you don't need
Yeah,
it
like
there.
in the Fellowship of the Rings movie, there's like this mad rush to leave the Shire as quickly as possible. In the book, Frodo
hangs out for a few years.
like a decade actually.
Jesus Christ.
He's there for a decade after Bilbo leaves him in the ring, and Gandalf comes back and explains the whole thing. And then once he's explained the whole thing, he says, "I'm gonna go do some stuff," but Frodo has to leave the Shire, so he spends time arranging a move so that it looks like he's moving over to a neighboring town. Arranges something with his other hobbit who doesn't appear in the movies at all, so that he'll stay at that house and pretend to be Frodo for a little while.
What?
And so he, Merry, and Pippin sneak off through the old forest and leave the Shire all low key and it isn't until the Nazgul show up at that house and scare the ever living shit out of the decoy hobbit that they even realize that he's left the Shire entirely. So it takes them a while to catch up to Frodo. and that's really neat establishing stuff, because it actually shows you some stuff about like what hobbits do when there's an emergency in the Shire, which is important
But for a
later.
movie, it's but for the movie's sake, you don't need it there. You kind of need to get to the more interesting
Yeah,
stuff.
so it's a mad rush to leave the Shire right away in the movie.
So
And don't get me started on Tom Bombadil.
So when there's an emergency in the Shire, hobbits like go, grab all their stuff, stop, take a coffee break, sit around, talk about the latest TV. Then they're like, "Oh, we should probably get going, right?" Yeah, we can wait another 20 minutes.
No, it's like there wasn't any like pressure to leave the Shire right away in the book, because Sauron didn't know where the ring was.
It was just, hey, Frodo, you had this thing that could be pretty dangerous. You might want to consider leaving, but not leaving a paper trail about it.
Yeah. The reason that they were, leaving was because of the possibility that Gollum might have mentioned the name Baggins while being interrogated, but whether that would lead the Nazgul to the Shire and how quickly that would happen was all up in the air. But for the sake of the movie,
whereas in the movie, the Nazgul are already there, so oh shit, things are going down. We have to leave like immediately.
Yeah. So it was a different situation and a different feeling. But basically, the point was that like almost like the entire first half of the book was skipped in the movie. So they basically had to change Merry and Pippin's entire motivation for coming with Frodo too.
Well, in the movie, they're just like, "Hey, yo,
Well, yeah, they
and
just
then
sort of
they
run
just
into
kind
them
of-
on their way out.
And
Yeah.
since the Nazgul are there, they can't exactly, take the road back, so they don't have much of a choice but to go with them for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Why are they going in? Why do they go in the book? then?
It's funny because like when they run into Merry and Pippin, they're like stealing crops from Farmer Maggot. In the book, they just sort of happen to run into Farmer Maggot on their way out of the Shire, and Farmer Maggot's all like really nice to them and lets them stay over and gives them a basket full of mushrooms. So, yeah.
I think it was basically, hanging around with the Baggins is a good idea, and they were kind of unaware of the whole situation. So they were like, kind of like, hanging with Frodo's a good idea. Let's do that.
Something like that. It's been a while since I've read it, but oh,
Reminder, like the Baggins in as far as the Shire goes are like top tier, not like royal family, but like the most famous and popular guys around.
well, yeah. They
Why?
well,
well, I mean,
rich.
Mostly
Bilbo's-
because, well, one, they're rich, and two, Bilbo.
Yeah, the Baggins house in the middle of Bag End is like the big house on the hill in the center of town. So, yeah. Although, by the time of the Lord of the Rings, there's also a whole lot of rumors about that adventure Bilbo went on, and about the rumored tunnels full of gold underneath his house and everything. He only brought back his
That, and he's also-
chest.
Yeah, that and Bilbo's kind of crazed because hobbits don't go and do adventure things.
Wait, is there a turret section in God of War of all things?
Oh, no.
Not a turret section, but
Oh, okay. They're just.
Hey, get away from that.
Oh, here's a traditional chimera.
yeah.
I think this was in a demo that I played.
Yes, it was.
Yes, this is the demo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the demo ends with you killing Helios, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right. I'm remembering this now.
Well, it ends right before you rip his head
Because
off.
the demo was one of the first things I recorded on YouTube, I think.
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm having flashbacks now.
God, that was like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's how
Well,
time
no,
works.
2010 is like 10 years ago.
2010, yeah. 10
I was
years
in high
ago.
school.
I like how they animate all these slash marks on the monster's body while you're doing these grab stabby things, and then when the animation ends, like if you try looking at the same body parts, the slashes are just mysteriously gone.
Yeah, I think the same thing happens with the Medusas
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, because you slash their tails and they're just kind of gone when you're fighting.
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with the blood. Like, the blood spatters dry suspiciously quickly on the ground.
No, you sweats it off.
It's probably just a memory thing, you know.
Well,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. of
yeah.
course.
Also, when they're running around like this, you're not really going to be seeing them anyway, so who cares?
I mean, I don't know. It's just maybe this is just us nitpicking because we're used to modern crap that has.
That's the entire point of this channel.
I thought the point of this channel was to provide entertaining and interesting discussion for our viewers.
Mileage may vary. Allow 4 to 6 weeks for shipment.
4 to 6 weeks. Wow, we're getting videos out way faster.
Wait,
than
are we
normal.
just like waiting for him to pass by?
Yep.
Yeah, you have to snipe him with this.
This looks like a really hard to time thing.
It is. Mostly because the perspective is weird.
Also, we're very lucky that he'll keep on going in the same route until we manage to hit him.
Well, I mean, Atlas is kind of stupid and not, tracking him very well.
Wait a minute. If Atlas is here, then who's holding up the world?
Wow, that Titan can move his arms pretty fast, can he?
Thanks, Atlas.
Sup, bro? Coffee next week?
Sure.
Be a next week.
Dun, 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 dun. Won't be your next week.
Next week won't happen.
See you next time, everyone.
Next week.